Hey, I'm Will Miller here, CEO of the Multihull Company, sitting with Conor Dugan. We're on the all-new 2025 Nautitech 44 Open, which we just delivered from Annapolis to Charleston. It was a pretty unique opportunity for us. We got to work the boat at the boat show, so I think it's probably one of the first times I've ever spent 4 days on a boat before I actually got to sail it. It was a great experience because we really knew the ins and outs of the boats, where everything was located before we took off. But we had ideal conditions coming around Hatteras and out of Chesapeake Bay, and now we're sitting here in Charleston. Conor, we did the passage in just over 3 days. I think we were 3 days and 6 hours, if I remember correctly, to do 500 miles. What was your impression of the boat, the performance? Just give us a general overview of what your feelings were about this boat.
Yeah, I was really impressed. You know, we started the trip in the Chesapeake, really windy conditions. I think we saw something like 32 to 35 knots pretty consistently at the start of the trip. We were triple reefed, and the boat was, we all commented to each other a few times that it was so comfortable, and the boat was in the double digits speed over ground, and we were still, you know, comfortably making some food and just kind of hanging out on the boat, and the boat didn't seem any worse for wear in those kind of conditions.
Yeah, we were able to close the sliding glass door here when it got cold. You've got a really nice forward-facing nav station, which I think we utilized a lot. And one of the features that kind of stood out, I think it's unique to this boat, is this bar area that's centerline right behind the mast, which I think when you first get on the boat, it might throw you off a little bit, but the way that we utilized it underway, it was very practical. I used it as a standing desk. We were using it to stand watch, navigate from. What other features on this boat do you think really set it apart from the competition?
Yeah, that area, that peninsula you're talking about, I agree. I wasn't really quite sure about how that was practically going to get used, and it was amazing how often we found ourselves congregating around it. I really like that L-shaped galley with that fridge space on the other side. Just felt really nice and open. Even for a 44-foot boat, it felt really big and easy to operate. That forward-facing nav, as you said, this passage from salon to cockpit being open, and then the ergonomics of the cockpit for having all your control lines to electric winches, just made for really easy handling. You know, we did a lot of reefing and shaking out of reefs. I think you said probably more than either of us have ever done on a delivery. And I think that that's just a testament to how easy it is to do it. I mean, to sail the boat properly, easily, is just amazing function of the boat.
I would agree, and I think that with the outboard helms, it really opens up this salon and cockpit area, especially with the slider open. There's a lot of just good social flow in and out of here, direct communication with your crew when they're inside in the galley. When you're out here, you know, one thing that always jumps out at people is the unique location of these helms, and I loved it. I thought that having the position out there when the sails were going up, when we were reefing, the communication to people on the foredeck, when they were up there working the sails, I think that really became a usable feature for us. And like you said, the rigging's all right there. We have 2 electric winches and a third, which we were able to use as a turning block and direct to the electric winch. So, you know, for a performance boat to be handled with such simplicity, I think was something that stuck out to me.
Absolutely.
You know, as far as the sail plan and usability, you know, what were your impressions? What did you take away from that passage?
Yeah, I think that really, for this trip, that was the big takeaway for me, was that we basically saw all conditions. We went from, you know, gale force winds down to light air sailing, and the boat just would ghost along in single digits of wind, you know, and the boat would just, it still made sense to keep the sails up. Even when we had to just go to turn over motors, I mean, the boat motored really nicely, somewhere at like 7.5 knots or something like that.
We were able to create some apparent wind, keep the boat moving at low RPMs, minimize our fuel consumption.
Yeah, the stiff boat, you know, it was quiet on board, even in the, you know, the hairiest of conditions. The boat was quiet, there wasn't any creaking. Yeah, overall, I was really blown away with how she did.
Yeah, with that self-tacking jib, I mean, we were getting angles, you know, the sail was staying full at 40. We were moving along at 7.5 knots. You know, at that wind angle, it's hard to do on a catamaran, especially a non-daggerboard boat. So for a 44-foot boat where you're not compromising that interior volume space with daggerboard trunks, to have a keel boat that still sails that well, I think really jumped out at me. You know, overall, I think we're really excited about this partnership. There's the new 41 coming out next year.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, do you want to touch on that 41 at all?
Yeah, it's going to be meant to meet the market a little bit more at a price point that's a little more agreeable to where people, we're finding shoppers are looking for a lot of value. You know, that boat opening price, it's going to be around the 600,000 USD, nicely equipped. That's a sail away price, and it's not going to compromise on any of the performance or the build quality, but really it's just meant to be a little bit more of a focused product. There's really an appetite for performance cats in that low 40-foot range, and I think that boat is going to be very popular. I think it's going to do very, very well. I can't wait to see it.
I agree. We've seen some of the renders. We're expecting hull number 1 to launch late spring, early summer next year, probably be at some of the European boat shows, and then hopefully have one over here by the fall, perhaps even in Annapolis, if we can manage that. You know, I think that they've stuck with their design ethos and their DNA, which is these outboard helms, these high performance hulls. They've done a really good job with that new 41 of opening up some of the space here in the coach roof by adding carbon reinforcements and just giving more panoramic sight lines through the cabins. So if you haven't seen the renders yet, get on our website, check them out. I think that that boat's going to be very well received by the market when it gets over here, and I can't wait to see it in the spring. Yeah, it was a pleasure sailing with Conor. We had one other crew on board who was a trauma surgeon. You know, it was an absolutely great dynamic between the three of us to see everything from 35 to 0 knots, get to motor sail, get to really push the limits with the third reef, and still be surfing at 14, 15 knots pretty consistently. We had a really great run. I like that we can now speak from personal experience on this boat, and I think it enhances our sales pitch to the end consumer.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm thrilled you brought the code 0 because the boat really liked that.
It did.
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming to Charleston with me.
Absolutely.
And,
thanks for having me.
This boat will be here on our docks for the time being. If you have any questions, if you want to come by and see it, it's here in Charleston, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.